Okay, so now we're moving on with barrel D.
Yep, I think we've been doing it.
We always do barrel D first for some reason.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And that's the Desert Jasper trip. Chips, we were on step 3 on November 23rd.
So it's got this funky brownish, sandy color.
Very liquidy, which means all that grit's been used up. But you still want to be sure you're not dumping it down your drain. Even if it looks liquidy, there's still the potential for clogs, so.
Oh yeah.
Rinse that barrel out good. Might want to rinse the side of that barrel good too. Or wipe it down. Scrubbing the rim.
Now make sure that lip gets good and clean before we move on to step 4. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and toss this on over the sink, cleaning over there. Go ahead and make sure we get all the grit, and even the grit on the side of the bowl, rinsed out, because we don't want any step 3 grit going into polish.
Get some more water. Take a quick look at them. Ooh, looking nice and shiny already and smooth. Some really pretty rocks in this. Interesting colorations too. Ooh, that's a pretty one. Desert Jasper this is. This one's got some greens in it. Grays. That's a really interesting combination. Trying to find another one. That one's also got some of those multiple colors. This one's a lot of grays. Oh, it's got some really big. We'll want to just do a real quick scrub of those. It doesn't look like anything's in them, but we'll want to do that. I think we're going to leave them. We're not going to worry about grinding them down. We just kind of, let it have some character. You could grind it down more if you wanted. It really depends on what your goal is on your rocks. But we always want to make sure it doesn't have any grit in it. So that's one we'll want to check over.
Especially like that hole right there, that's a pretty deep hole.
Yep.
And that seems pretty clean of grit.
Yeah.
For the most part, those are looking pretty.
Yeah, there was just that one great big one that had a funky shelf to it.
This one?
No, there was a different one that had a lot more. I think it was it that? No, it wasn't that. Well, that's one of them, but where was it? It was a big red one, kind of a...
Well, it vanished.
Why don't we get the bowl clean? Ooh, that one's pretty.
Okay. I already got the bowl clean.
Okay, so get it over here. We'll throw the ones that are good in it, and then we'll find that one by process of elimination. This one here has some. You may have already got that one.
I think that's just coloration.
Well, right, and like I said, even the one I was looking at, I don't think it did.
Just, that's just the coloration.
But mostly, I just want to make sure if there's a hole or a dip that we've gone over it to knock any particles loose.
Yep.
Okay, so I can go back in.
And then we've already...
You already scrubbed over that one. That one's not bad. Yeah, see that little hole there on the end?
Yeah,
side?
there's a little hole right here on the end.
And a hole on the end there too. Alright. That one's fine. Those are good.
That one there. Yeah, that looks really good.
That looks good. It had a really pronounced ridge, so I think it might have been that one. And I just wanted to make sure, even though it didn't really look like anything was in there,
right.
it's just one of those, you know, extra caution to make sure we don't have any. But these really look like they've smoothed out really nicely. And
They
there's
have.
some wild, funky looking shapes in there, but that's okay. Like I said, to me, that's what makes them interesting. Life is too boring to be all round and perfect.
Yeah, I'm round.
Well, you know, and I'm round and perfect too, so a couple of round perfect people can have our rocks be irregular and unperfect according to some people.
It's not a dig on you, Michigan Rocks.
No, I get it. He likes them that way. There we go. That might have been
It was
the one.
this one here, I think.
Yeah, because it didn't look bad, but it just, there was big, deep
I think this is the one that I did some grinding
You might
on.
have done some grinding already
get-
on it. Yeah, to try to smooth out those areas and make them so they're a little better. But yeah, so just kind of double check, make sure you're not getting any grit passed on from.
Okay, that was the last big
One
one.
to one.
Everything else there. Okay.
Yep, I think all the rest of them were okay. It was just one of the big ones I know. Alright, I'm going to send all of those little bits and pieces in with it because it's all ceramic.
Well, some of that ceramic section is starting to wear way down.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of this has ridden through probably 20-some cycles, so
Okay,
it's going to be time to go through some of it, but we're just going to wear it away till it's nothing, pretty much. So we're moving on to step 4. Go ahead and put the water up until it's just below the level of the rocks. Good. Scoop out the air.
Now our step 4 scoop.
And these are a little bit bigger barrels, so we've been doing 3 tablespoons.
And then we're going to move right on to the Prairie agate.
Yep. So there's barrel D. Now barrel C is the Prairie agate chips.
Alright, take the spots. So also step 3, kind of another desert tan
Yeah.
in color for the grit.
And it also looks pretty watery. Uh-oh. It's like we're getting a hole, huh?
This lid here is getting,
Uh-oh.
you can see my,
Yep, we can see the finger through there.
So,
that is something you need to do. Is
keep an eye on your lids.
Keep an eye on your lids because
You
we
can't
did.
have a blowout.
Yep, we did have one blow out on us once.
Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse this, and I think we're just going to soak this for the night. And we're going to pick up a new lid. And we're just going to keep these rocks submerged for tonight.
Yep, and the reason why we keep them submerged is so that if there is any grit that's stuck in it, even though we're trying to rinse it all away, we want to make sure again that there's, you know, not that transfer, and if there is anything we don't want it hardening in there, we want it to rinse out as it's going. So that'll just help keep anything from hardening. But we're going to rinse them really super well to make sure that there's not anything transferred over. But
Right.
just to be on the safe side, it's good to keep them wet. if you're not ready to run them through again. And not safe to run it through with that lid. Not if it's that thin that we can actually see through it.
So, some parts do just wear out.
Yep. I mean, after all, we're grinding down rocks. So, plastic is also vulnerable to being ground down. Again, we want to clean the edges really well to make sure we're not carrying over any of that grit. Throw it in there and do another scrub over there. And we'll finish rinsing off these rocks. Boy, they have a different sound to them, don't they, since they're chips. They're much thinner. But here's some prairie agate. So some banding. This one's got a lot of banding, we can see. Not a lot of, some small banding. This one's got a lot of banding in it. Ooh, this one's fun. It's got a lot of different colors. And you can definitely see the banding in it. That's a really pretty agate. Wow, look at that. So, interesting, this prairie agate. Ooh. This one doesn't have as much of an agate-y appearance to it. To me, it looks more like maybe a Jasper. Ooh, look at this one. That's really pretty. Very thin.
Okay. Now,
because these are thinner, they're not as apt to have as many of the holes and some of that stuff that the other bigger ones have.
good. Well,
Really pretty ones in there.
yes there is, so gonna go ahead and probably add just a little bit more water than I normally would.
Yeah.
Just that way everything stays covered and moist. Until we get a new lid tomorrow.
Yeah, we can always pour some of it off if we feel like it's too full at the time that we go to
Yes.
run it. So,
Yep, this is just going to keep it protected for tonight. All right. We'll talk to you later. Good night.